Hello everyone, it's good to be back. Today's October 23rd. Unfortunately, a year has gone by. It's day 383 of the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza, and we are with our usual of Yediot Achronot. Also, by the way, if you guys want to check Yediot Achronot, you can do that. It's a website called Ynet in English, so don't just get it from us, go to the real news. These are our articles for today. Hamatara, the goal. Hametziut, Metziut Chadasha mul Iran. A new reality against Iran, talking about the strategy now that is going to take place and the attacks that have happened recently. And then we're going to talk about a year in Gaza, Shana B'toch Aza, about the reservists in Gaza that have been there for over 180 days. So we'll talk about all that and more. It's also a holiday here in Israel, Simchat Torah, and we'll end with something really special. But in the meantime, let's get to it. So here it says, Iran misira et hakfafot. Iran is taking off their gloves. So what happened actually recently is that a drone hit Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's house in Caesarea. And you can see in Caesarea, you can see in this photo, his house. You can see all the damage that happened to the greenery and the palm trees around. But actually, the reason why there's not so much damage to the house itself is because these windows are extremely resistant to these types of attacks. So I'll say this is the first time in the world, as far as we know, that these type of protective windows have been able to prevent damage from a suicide drone, which is an extremely, rare thing anyways. I don't know a lot of places in the world where there's a lot of suicide drones, so this was sort of the first test. In this war, all of the masks that Iran was sort of hiding beneath, they have all fallen. They're sort of exposing their tactics. If before that they were hiding behind their proxies, now they're just showing, all of their capabilities and threatening out loud in a very, very strong way. It says here, in the wake of all of this escalation, Jerusalem, meaning Israel, the people that are deciding what the retaliation will be in front of Iran, are planning to react in a very, very strong way. So Iran doesn't only take advantage of the fact that they have their proxies, around Israel, Hamas, Hezbollah, but they're also infiltrating within Israel. So recently they actually caught 7 spies that they received monetary reward for spying in different ways. So taking photos of different bases, trying to assassinate different key figures. And all of this, of course, is sort of like a back and forth pull and tug war of what's happening, because Israel has taken out so many of their leaders, in Hezbollah. So much so that you don't even know who the new person in line is. That is how far we have gone to eliminate the terror coming from Iran and their proxies. And now they're sort of trying to, hit us where it hurts most and do the same to us by trying to take out Bibi Netanyahu. Since then, he has moved to a different place. He'll not be staying in Caesarea. But it just comes to show you that Iran really tries to not just attack us from surrounding us, but also within us. Okay, so coming to the conclusion of being a year in Gaza, this is an article about a special reserve unit. It says here, Gaza, Shana Latimrun, Gaza, a year for the maneuver. 180 days they were inside in 3 different rounds. So between these rounds, they might have a day or two to go back home to say hi to their families. But imagine to yourself now, you as the viewer, being in a war zone as a combat soldier for 180 days. I can't even think about surviving one day there. These people have been in the fight, literally defending their family on the grounds. And it says here, every single time they left their house and left their personal life behind to defend us. And they also paid a very heavy price of 11 of this reservist brigade being fallen in action, which is very, very sad. If you guys know anything about the IDF, the people that you combat with, those people become your family. And it's so different, from a normal friend that you would usually have, just in life, because this person literally has your back. This person is the difference between life and death, and they literally defend each other on the ground. And so the connection that they have between each other is, something otherworldly. And I'll show you guys here some of the pictures that are very interesting. Here it says, Nichnasim be'esh, like going into the fire. They're here in the neighborhood of Zaytun. They're searching after ammunition and also searching for the terror hubs. So as you guys know, in Gaza, the terrorists, they basically create their hubs within civilian houses. And that's why you see so much of the destruction in these neighborhoods. Some of those people could, just be innocent, but because they create their terror hubs inside, those neighborhoods become, places that are completely destroyed. Here it says, Gavat Yechida, the pride of the unit. Mayan, who is a division support command, as a battalion commander in 8119. Here you can see her inside of Gaza, and as you guys know, there are also female combat soldiers that are commanders as well. I think they also really broke that sort of glass ceiling that people used to think about women, that they're maybe perhaps not capable, but here you can definitely see someone who is a commander, who her soldiers look up to her and listen to her. So I think that's really amazing. Here you can see them in the Bebait Shel Mechabel, inside the house of a terrorist, next to the kitchen, next to the laundry machine, the army uniforms of the Nukhba terrorists. So the Nukhba terrorists are a specific division within Hamas. Here you can also see different army soldiers going into a building, basically protecting themselves from terrorists that could be inside. Here's another interesting image. It says here, Menuchat Lochem, the rest of the IDF soldiers, that they're taking a little tiny moment between maneuvers, scanning the neighborhood of Zaytun. And you can see they're literally just, sitting for a moment of rest. One of the soldiers is even lighting up a cigarette. I'm sure that for him, it's just a little bit of relief in a tense place. Here you can see soldiers underneath a building that is quite literally about to collapse. And the reason that they're going from building to building and not, out in the open is that there are Hamas snipers. So you can see these people have been, reservists have been there 180 days in this environment, which is extremely risky and extremely dangerous. And of course, you guys saw that they also lost 11 of their soldiers. And we're thankful. We want to say thank you to those soldiers that invested and protected us for 180 days and are continuing to do the same in Gaza. So thank you to them. Now I want to talk to you guys a bit about the holiday that we're in right now. So we're in the Feast of Tabernacles, and on the last day of the Feast of Tabernacles is Simchat Torah. Simchat Torah means like the joy of the Torah. So for a whole year, you basically go through the whole of the Old Testament and you read it every day. And so on the day of the war last year, on the 7th of October, it was Simchat Torah. And I'll explain to you guys why all of that is also really meaningful to us and how we try to deal with this holiday that should be an extremely happy holiday, and how it became sad and how we're dealing with it now. So here you can see a really interesting article. It says, Sisu vezichru, rejoice and remember. It's sort of a play on words because the original one is Sisu vesimchu, which is be happy and joyful. And so here you'll see these 5 individuals and what they went through, experiencing an attack in a synagogue on the 7th, surrounded by terrorists. So here it says, Lirkod im dma'ot ba'inayim, to dance with tears in your eyes. So on that holiday, people go to the synagogue to pray very early, but mind you, by this time, there are already rockets in the air. They're from Sderot, they already know that there are rockets. They understood that there's something abnormal, but because they don't have phones, because they don't use them on the Sabbath, they don't know that there's an infiltration of terrorists, but they suspected that something could be going on. So just literally by chance, the rabbi of this synagogue on the way saw a man that was going, on his way, but he had a gun. He was a reservist. So he asked him to come and pray with them in the synagogue. And there just happened to be another soldier there that had a gun. And so they're in the synagogue, and you can see them here with the Torah scroll. The moment that they understood that there is an infiltration because the terrorists started to shoot at someone who had left the synagogue. They went back in, they tried to lock the door, it wasn't locking, so they hid next to the bathroom and here next to the what we would call the Holy Ark. It's basically where they hold the Torah scrolls. It's a very special day in which you open the Torah scrolls and you basically scroll back the Torah from where you ended. So you read it the whole year and then you scroll it back to the beginning. And actually it says something really cool in the title. It said here that while they were hiding, they were saying Shema Yisrael. Shema Yisrael is a prayer that a lot of us pray from the Old Testament, but it's also sort of the first prayer that Jews will think about to pray when they're under attack. They'll just say Shema Yisrael, Shema Yisrael, Shema Yisrael. And they were also sort of just confessing things, in a whisper, knowing that the terrorists were surrounding them there. So as they are hiding, these terrorists infiltrated and start to shoot at them. They're throwing grenades at them. And if not for those two people within the synagogue that had rifles, they would definitely not be alive. But they didn't only deal with that, internal fight. They also had their families at home. They can see them in their cameras. Terrorists are surrounding their own homes. So they're surrounded there in the synagogue. Their family is not safe. And I don't know what I would do in that situation, but it must have been absolutely terrifying for them. So for them to be in this synagogue a year later, holding the Torah scroll, knowing that God protected them that day, is just absolutely amazing. And it's nothing short than a miracle. I'll show you guys another image of the synagogue and the damage. So here you can actually see these terrorists in the cameras surrounding the synagogue. Also, a wonderful thing about the synagogue was that it actually is a bomb shelter, which is why a lot of those prayer goers were comfortable, quote unquote, going to the prayer there because they knew that they would be safe. Little did they know they would not be safe. Here you can see the bullet holes, in the walls. If not for it being, that sturdy, it could be that they truly wouldn't be with us here today. So I want you guys to sort of picture this in your head. Think about the happiest holiday that you have from where you're from. That could be Christmas, that could be Thanksgiving, whatever it is that sort of brings the families together specifically for a day of joy. Hamas chose this day strategically. They knew where it would hurt us the most. They knew that on a Sabbath, a lot of reservists and a lot of soldiers are actually at home. And so they attacked us when we were most vulnerable. And so for a lot of people, this day, a year later, it will forever be sort of tainted in their hearts, in their minds, in their families, because they have lost so much. They went through so much trauma. The victory that these men have survived that ordeal and could stand there again with that Torah scroll, it really just shows the resilience of the Israeli people, that no matter what happens to us, we will continue to pride ourselves in the fact that God had chosen us from all the nations in the world to represent Him, to be the object of His affection, so that we can all sort of experience the joy of the Torah together. So a lot of people have gone through this year of pain, but also there's the physical sort of elements of it that remind you of the pain that you went through. So at the end of Sukkot, you still have the sukkah up, and then you take it down after Simchat Torah. And because so many people had to evacuate their homes, their sukkah was still up, and some of them were up for months, and some of the kibbutzim, they're literally still sukkot there that are just sort of, half ruined, torn to pieces, but they're still standing. So for many people this year, building the sukkah takes on a different meaning. And some of them might not even have a sukkah. Some of them might have had to go through the holiday in a mass sukkah in their hotel where they are evacuees. Thousands are still evacuees now because of the situation up north. So if you're a praying person and you're watching this, please pray for the people up north. They're going through such a horrendous time because so many of them are either, there and don't have bomb shelters and they're under sirens and drone and rocket attacks all day, or they're literally not there because they have no home to go to. So if you are a praying person, thank you for praying for them. And we also wish from us as All Israel News to you guys. We want to say thank you, and we want you guys to have joy. Joy in hard circumstances, joy when you feel like there's nothing to be joyful about. We hope that these type of reports and news will inspire you that no matter what happens in your life, you can continue to find joy in the Lord. And if you're not a person of faith, joy in the things around you, because there is still so much joy in this world to be had. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below where you're from, what you think about the reports of today. And if you want more Israel-related content, go to allisrael.com. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one.